So in this video, I wanted to talk about the difference between function declarations and functional expressions. And this is another example of just one of those things that gets confusing when you're getting started, or even if you just haven't been using functions much. It can be confusing. So it's important to really understand the difference. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and talk about what function declarations are first with just a simple example. So declarations are functions that have a body and an identifier. And I'll create a quick example of that. So let's go ahead and declare a function here called order pizza. And here we have type and size as the two parameters that this function takes. This function is very simple. It's going to return a string. So it's going to return a string with your pizza order, basically. And this is a traditional function declaration. We know that because it has an identifier, order pizza, it has a name, and it has a body. So calling this function is simple. I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. Order pizza. And I'm going to pass in, I'm feeling pretty hungry, so I'm going to get a 24-inch. And, oh, I'm sorry, that was wrong. I'm going to get a pepperoni pizza, 24-inch. And let's get confirmation that we did everything right here. Node declarations versus expressions. And there we have. I'd like to order a 24-inch pepperoni pizza, please. Okay, so that all looks good. We just went through an example of a very basic functional declaration or function declaration. Now, what about functional expressions? And in explaining a functional expression, what we're doing is we are taking an anonymous function and assigning it to a variable. So let's go ahead and do that. Say const order pizza is equal to an anonymous function, which we are not going to give a name. We're just going to go ahead and skip the name part and pass in the parameters. And it's all basically the same thing that we did before, very similar, except for what you see is what we've done is we've created what is here an anonymous function. It has no name. There's no way to reference it here. But when we assign this anonymous function to a constant, all of a sudden we have the ability to access this function just like we did in a functional declaration or function declaration. So I'm going to go ahead and do that here. We're going to console log order pizza and pass in the type. Say I'm feeling cheese now, and the size 12-inch. So if we run this in the console, we will see the output of our functional expression here. Hi, I'd like to order a 12-inch cheese pizza, please. And so obviously these can get a little more complex and a little more probably in detail than we've gone here, but I always like to keep things just as simple as possible, specifically for my own understanding, because it's so easy to get bogged down in complexity and details in programming languages that it's just nice to have a straightforward example of, and to truly understand, okay, what am I looking at here? Because I see the function keyword and then a name, I'm looking at a function declaration. And here, because I'm seeing a variable name or a constant in our example, and then an anonymous function assigned to it, and that's another thing. It's nice to know what is an anonymous function, because that word gets thrown around a lot, and if you don't really know what that is, it's a function that has no name. It's anonymous. It can just be another one of those words that gets confusing. But yeah, again, I could be going into more detail here, but I like to keep things simple, and I like to really feel like I've got a good grasp of the very high level, simple concepts before I go deeper. And so that's what I wanted to achieve here.